I think most people here have joined at least one meeting before, but is there anybody who is new, who has not, this is their first meeting? If anybody is new, would you like to raise your hand and introduce yourself to the group? If this is your first, or maybe if you haven't joined for a very long time, like you haven't come for several months, would you like to introduce yourself then? Maybe Sedo Nikema, you might be a new member. Would you like to introduce yourself? I do see a hand up from Gertrude from Dr. Namubiru. Please go ahead, introduce yourself.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Dr. Gertrude Namubiru, the curriculum specialist in charge of mathematics, the Secretary General, African Curriculum Association. I'm so passionate about these meetings, though at times they find me tight and I fail to join. Thank you for joining. Thank you, Marianne, for welcoming us.
Thank you so much, Gertrude. And you've been really present and engaged for almost the entire COP. So thank you for joining and for staying engaged. Anybody else wanting to introduce themselves? We might have a few people who have only come for one or two meetings, so feel free to raise your hand and introduce yourself. So even Senkumba Peter, you might want to introduce yourself as well, since I think you've maybe didn't come to all the meetings before, but anybody, feel free, go ahead.
My name is Senkumba Peter. Senkumba Peter. I work with the province of Church of Uganda, representing all the dioceses in Uganda, and I'm a programs officer with the institution. This is not my first time. I've nearly attended all the sessions.
Okay, my apologies. Somehow I must have missed that, maybe because I'm always sharing my screen and can't always see people's names like I'd like to. But now we have help today with the slides. Miss Camelia, would you like to introduce yourself, since you might be new to some people still?
Thank you, Marianne. Hello, everyone. My name is Camelia. I work with Marianne at UNESCO ICPA for the KICS team. I'm really happy. This is my second time of joining the Gender COP, and I'm really looking forward to the sharing of experiences.
Thank you so much, Camelia. Anybody else want to introduce themselves? We have
Hello.
Festus. We have, yes, go ahead.
Yeah, my name is Leoncia Kibani. I'm from Tanzania. I'm a gender coordinator at my college and also peer educator. I've been dealing with gender issues for STEM at my university. I'm happy to have you today in this community. Thank you.
Yes, I think we have a lot to learn from you, Leoncia, as we hear your presentation later on today. I was pretty impressed when I read through your updates that you're going to share today.
Yes.
And I think that you're in a good position at your university also to drive changes. So we're happy to have you as a resource here. Anybody else? Festus Anrak? Ankara, would you like to introduce yourself?
Good afternoon. My name is Festus Akwete Ankara, Senior Research Manager for Associates for Change Ghana, and we are happy to be part of this process. I know we've been on this forum we presented twice this year, and we've been partaking in all of your programs this year. So this will be my, I think, fifth presentation that I'm joining. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Festus, for joining us again. Again, I think that you and Associates for Change are a resource to the other members here. else want to introduce themselves? Maybe Saido Nigema. I haven't seen you recently. Would you like to turn your microphone on and say hello to the group? Last chance for introductions. Okay, maybe not. Colleagues, I think let's get started. We have a small and intimate group today of not just learners, but people who are practitioners, those who have done something to share in gender responsive education. So this is not a typical webinar. You won't be sitting on mute the whole time, listening to presentations. We hope that this becomes a space where you feel that you can ask questions, you can contribute, say something. It's an informal space, so feel free to raise your hand. Feel free to come in at different times. We will have 4 presentations by some members, and we'll have one member leading the discussion shortly. That is if Jacqueline's able to join. She was having some issues on her connection just now, so hopefully she's able to join. Okay, she's here, she's in the waiting room. All right, so everyone, I'm going to get started. I'm going to take you through a very brief background into the course and this community of practice, why we're all here and what this is all about. And then we'll hear from some participants soon. So Camelia, if you could change the slide, please. Thank you. So today, what are we going to do? What will we learn about? Today, we're going to recall and also reinforce our understanding of the term gender responsive education. We'll see that you understand what that means, and we'll deepen our understanding of that. We will also take part in some member-driven action and advocacy. So any one of you who undertook gender responsive action this year can share your experiences, which includes your results, your challenges, your strategies, and your next steps, maybe for next year. And we'll specifically hear from 4 people who are going to do that. And then we'll open the forum for anybody else to share their updates. Then we'll also give each other peer feedback. So that's feedback from you to another member in this group about anything that you observed interesting in their updates. Maybe you want to question them on why they did something, or give them a suggestion for how they could more or something different based on their goals. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, I think that you probably already know this, but I will just show a quick summary. This is the module 3, third module of a full course. So we're now in a longer community of practice phase of a course that began last year with conceptual workshops in a variety of topics in gender responsive education. And we're at that point again where we can take your feedback on directions, thematic and conceptual directions to have for future workshops, maybe gender transformative education, which came up by a member last time. We want to enrich the space with learning on themes that matter to you within gender responsive education. But currently we're in module 3, where we have been sharing our action plans and our actions for feedback from the group. Next slide, please. Camelia, could you change the slide, please? Thank you so much. Okay, and a couple of links that you might be interested in seeing. There's a couple links here that are all in the resource pack that I shared. Oh, sorry. If you could go back one slide, please. Thank you so much. So these are the links to some important places that you might want to take part in. The resource pack has all the PowerPoints, the recordings, and knowledge resources. And then the WhatsApp link is where it's becoming like the go-to space to announce and to have conversations about these topics. So those are some of the most important links. And let's start with the actual definition now. Yes, I think there's a bit of a delay. Sorry, my connection's not the best today. We had some snow here in the US where I'm based, and it's been a little week since then. Sorry about that, everybody. And sorry about that, Camellia. So let's recall our learning. If you could please raise your hand if you want to answer this question and share your thoughts about your understanding of the term gender responsive pedagogy in education. What do you think about these terms? What comes to mind? What do you remember of the definitions? Yes, I see a hand up from Seklikele. Go right ahead.
Thank you, Miriam. Gender responsive pedagogy. It's a teaching approach or a model that trains teachers to be aware of the gender issues. And then it equips them with knowledge, skills, and values and attitudes that they will need while handling teaching and learning activities in their day-to-day activities, either teaching and learning activities so that they have gender sensitive lesson plans, even going further into the management systems of the schools so that they will have policies that are gender sensitive. It also goes into the teaching and learning materials that they are going to use, that they are gender sensitive. Furthermore, it goes into the language that they are going to use, that it is gender sensitive. That is, it considers both boys and girls in the schools, not only one sex or one. Those are some of the things that. Okay. The other thing about this is it empowers people so that they may be empowered and resilient to challenges such as the pandemics, such as HIV, AIDS, sexually transmitted diseases, things like
okay, Seklikele, let's give others a chance to come in.
Thank you very much.
Okay, and but you have, yes, you gave a really comprehensive definition. Petros, yes, and then we'll have Joyce come in. Petros, quickly, and then Joyce.
Thanks so much. This is a good question. Gender responsive pedagogy, to my understanding, is addressing specific needs of both female students and boys, girls and boys, in education, where education is about knowledge, skill, and attitude based on the given society and education system. So there is a nexus between gender responsiveness and the education system. Our education to enhance quality. Yeah, sure. Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Very good. Very good. Sorry, I want to make sure other people get a chance who are not presenting today, like you and Seklikele. Joyce, yes, would you want to share your understanding of this term? Hello, Joyce. I saw you unmuted before. Did you want to come in to share your understanding of this term? Joyce Nawela?
Hello, may I try?
Not. Yes, Janet, go ahead.
Yes, my understanding is that both boys and girls have different education needs, and education is the equalizer that brings both boys and girls at the same level. And therefore, in order to acquire knowledge that can help them to solve the gender then we are support pedagogy practice. Hello.
Okay, I'm having a bit of a hard time hearing Janet. I'm wondering if others are too. But colleagues, I think let's move on from this question so we can get to some of the other questions, okay? So we have an understanding now. Let's see a UNESCO definition. Gender responsive means addressing and responding to the different needs, aspirations, capacities, and contributions of girls, boys, women, and men in and through education. When I see this, the words that stand out to me are addressing and responding to. So there's an action associated with that. It's not just being like aware of gender differences and inequities and inequalities. It's responding. It's addressing and responding. It's action-based. It's doing something about it rather than just being sensitive to them or being aware of them, but taking a step forward and doing something about it through education and within the education system and within classrooms, and in the case of pedagogy. Next slide, please, Camelia. So last session, most of you I think that I see here were here at the last session as well, last Wednesday. Last Wednesday, we came across 2 resources from our organization, UNESCO ICPA, that you could use as resources in your own gender responsive education work. So on the left, that small box that says FAWE's Gender Responsive Pedagogy, that's a toolkit. It's a toolkit, it's a document, a guide full of resources and ideas and strategies and activities in gender responsive pedagogy that people of various levels in the education system can use. All of you who are here could use that guide to your work and your ideas and your partnerships with others who are maybe interested in this kind of work. And on the right, that is an e-course. It's an online learning course, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. But let's first look at the teaching or the toolkit guide on the left. Next slide, please, Camelia. Okay, so I think there's a definition missing from the top, but that's okay. When we talk about gender responsiveness, yeah, there it is. So we talked a little bit about the first term, taking action to correct gender bias and discrimination. There's also a gender responsive school. So practically, what does that look like? A gender responsive school is one in which the school leaders and the members of the school, the teachers, the community members, the staff, people who are involved in the school are aware of and seek to address and equalize the learning experiences of boys and girls. So taking into account that they have specific needs, girls need separate bathrooms, for example, boys need to be given extra support in certain subjects where they might not be inclined to pay attention or to be interested in. There needs to be separate responses for school or gender-based violence, the way that girls and boys experience that differently, for example. Boys sometimes being subjected to physical violence or cruel punishment, and girls being subjected more to sexual abuse. So a school that is gender responsive will understand these different needs and will strive to address them through the academics and through the social and physical environment of the school. And then on the bottom, GRP, gender responsive pedagogy, as we learned through the guide and from last week, and as summarized here by Secretary Kelly earlier, it's the teaching processes. It's the tools, the skills of the teachers. It's the resources that are used to address the specific learning needs of boys and girls. Okay, I think we can go to the next slide. I want to ask you as a group, why is this relevant? Why are you here? Why do you feel that as a policy actor, as a curriculum developer, as a teacher educator, whatever your role is, why do you feel that you need to learn about gender responsive education and pedagogy? What draws you to this topic? Any hands? Petrus, I see your hand, but can you just give somebody else a turn? Anthony, yes, Anthony from Uganda.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. I think it's important because we are talking about inclusiveness and access. So it addresses the issues of inclusiveness and access. And for the case of Uganda, really, we have done some tremendous achievement. But I thought the most important aspect is inclusiveness and access. But we have achieved some steps in Uganda.
Okay, and Anthony, why do you feel you yourself in your own role, I think you're working in a research capacity, why is it important for you to be here?
Is that question addressed to me?
Yes, Anthony, just to bring it more local. Quickly, why is it important for you?
Yeah, thank you very much. I feel it's very, very important because the issue of gender addresses gender responsive, addresses many aspects, and especially the issue of girls and boys in terms of equality. So when we talk of equality, education, we must address the issue of gender responsiveness and inclusivity.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much, Anthony. Let's give somebody else a chance. I heard somebody come in just a second ago. Did somebody unmute just now and say something?
Yeah. It's Nelly.
Was it Nelly? Please, Nelly.
Yeah. Hello. Yes, the issue of gender responsive pedagogy is critical. As a curriculum developer, materials and are really giving an equal opportunity for boys and girls to participate in learning. And so then we get into the self by is for activity and participate in learning. It is also important curriculum at their pathways, and therefore where we provide an opportunity for only make boys or girls to be inclined to a certain kind of a career pathway, with learners, boys and me as a curriculum developer at the implement of the curriculum that.
Okay, thank you so much, Nelly. We have a chance for one more person, and I'm going to call on Ephraim because, Michael, you're going to speak in a moment anyways. So Ephraim, please tell us, why is it important for you to learn about gender responsive education and pedagogy? Ephraim from Rwanda.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Then for me, the issue of gender responsiveness is very critical, and it has been emphasized on as long as, for example, in our case, in teacher management, For example, we have like 16% of women in who are leading school.
I'm not hearing Ephraim.
The number of women which is greater than the number of men, which means that to ensure that there is an equality in school leadership, we have to stress on gender responsiveness and encourage these women then to apply on these positions, but also put in place supports that help them then to be many in school leadership positions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Ephraim. So I hope that going forward, you feel that this is a space where this is a space that is relevant for you.
Hello?
Okay, I think we can take one more quick point. Eunice, did you want to comment on this question?
Hello?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, Eunice, can you hear?
This is Reginald. Are you getting me?
Yes. Yes, please go ahead.
Okay. I'm Reginald Gates from Liberia.
Welcome.
Thank you. The issue of gender responsiveness, the importance of it and its benefits as well, we being teachers, is that it reduces the issue of gender gap in terms of enrollment. In terms of enrollment in our schools. Because if this is actually propagated, I mean, the issue of boys and girls will be resolved. Then the second one is that it empowers all gender to achieve their potential. Because there is no discrimination and everybody is free, I mean, in terms of free thinking and then in terms of interactions. Then the third one is that it promotes what we call critical thinking. And the last one from my end is that it encourages respectful and inclusive attitude in the future, even now. So these are some of the benefits that we talk about gender responsive in our own educational system. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing. Let's move on to the next point so that we get a chance for everybody to come in at different times in the meeting. So next slide, please. Now, something else that we discussed last week was the e-course that's being offered on our website, on UNESCO ICPA's website. Okay, this is an e-course in gender responsive pedagogy. It's a short course that will expand on some of the strategies, some of the concepts that are introduced in the toolkit, the guide that you can see on the right side of the screen. And I'd like to ask one of our members here to comment on his experience of recently taking the course and getting a certificate and taking the course. So Michael, would you like to unmute and share a bit about your experience? So Michael Wanjuzu Makongo, would you like to share your experience taking the e-course? Hello, Michael. This is your turn. If you'd like to comment on what it was like to take the e-course recently and to get a certificate.
Sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Marianne. Michael Wanjuzi Makongo is my name, and I come from Manafa district in eastern Uganda. I work with the Uganda Civil Aviation Authority as an administrative office assistant, and I also work with children in my community. And I attended the course, which of course I registered for online, and it was very easy to go through the process of registering. And of course, I listened to there were videos, there were also resources which we had to read. And of course, there are stages, and at every stage there are some questions you ask, which you're asked to, and the questions are, some of them are you can use your common sense, but some of them you get from the resources that you are being given during the training. So at the end of every stage, there are questions, and the questions are, of course, objectives questions. They ask you a question, and you just choose the right one or the false one. So it takes on the platform. It actually gives you 5 days to complete that course, but I did it in 2 days, and because I had to concentrate, and I managed to do it for 2 days. Yeah, it was 2 days, and straight away I got my certificate, and I even uploaded the certificate on my status, and it's also on my CV right now. And trying to organize myself because I did part 1. There's also part 2, and I think I'm trying to organize myself again so that I can do the second part. And of course, it has empowered me in my community. When I talk about gender responsive teachings, I pay attention to the specific needs of both the males and the female students. I also advocate for policies to look beyond gender parity in school enrollment, in order to put gender equality at the heart of the community and education. Thank you very much.
Michael, thank you very much for so articulately explaining your experience and what it was like for you to get online and take this course and why you did so. I'm going to share, I found a copy of your certificate. If you allow me just 1 minute, Camelia, to share my screen to show everybody what he's talking about. So Michael just completed the short course, the first part, sorry, of the short course in GRP, and this is the certificate that he just got. You can see that it's partly from FAWE, the Forum for African Women Educationalists, and also from our organization, UNESCO ICPA, and then from UNICEF. So we're hoping that everybody else will also feel that welcome to take the short course that Michael just described. Okay, I'm going to start sharing, Camelia. And
permission, but because you get a team minute, when you're rushing, they should have been behind her. Let me say yes.
Okay, I think that's just some participant with his mic on. Okay, colleagues, this was a really interesting first part of the meeting today. Now it's over to you to share your updates. Oh, sorry, there was one more slide. I'm so sorry, I forgot to show this one. Very quickly, for those of you that have seen the gender responsive pedagogy toolkit, there's a couple of ways in which we can use the toolkit. So just very quickly, this is a practical tool for training new teachers and refreshing the knowledge or skills of seasoned teachers. As Secretary Kelly mentioned in the beginning, it's about the skills the teachers have to address those differences between girls and boys. It can also be used as a reference for classroom teachers to create inclusive classroom environments and encourage critical and creative thinking in their students. It's a reference for school management, school leaders, to ensure that their school supports the application of gender-responsive pedagogy through policies, observation, and guidance, and as a resource for teachers and school management. This is important for policy actors in many ways to know about. So many of you may not be involved in teaching at the school level, or you might be, but if you're not, it's as important to learn about gender-responsive pedagogy as it is if you were a teacher. There's a lot of resources here, and we hope that you take the chance to review the chapters of the teaching guide and the toolkit that was shared with you, and consider taking the e-course as well. So next slide, please. I'd like to turn it over now to my co-facilitator for today. Is Jacqueline online? Let me see. Jacqueline,
yes, please.
Makoka, let's see if she's able to join. Okay, so Jacqueline Makuka, you're not online, right? I don't see your name.
I saw her joining before, but she might be offline due to some connection issue.
Right, I think so. Okay, let's give her a chance. I do see we have a lot of people under the name of Eunice Bodza. It might be that somebody shared the link. Jacqueline, last call. Are you here under a different name? Jacqueline Makuka?
Yes. I'm from Liberia. My name is Jack Jikan. And also on the CAT project, the project in Liberia, specifically Nima University. So the link was sent for us to be part of the meeting.
Yes, you're so welcome. You're most welcome here. Would you mind typing your name in the chat box? Because we have your name as a different one on the screen, just so that we have your name and your email address, your separate name and email address. Otherwise, we see a different name on the screen.
Oh,
if you
okay.
could add that to the chat box. Thank you so much.
All right.
So we'll wait for Jacqueline from Uganda to come back. In the meantime, let me just call on the first presenter to share. We're going to start with Dr. Leoncia Kibani from Tanzania. She's going to share some of the gender-responsive work that she has engaged in this year and what it has resulted in at her university. So, Dr. Kibani, over to you, and I think we have your slides. Would you turn your camera on to say hello? Over to you.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, you have 10 minutes.
Okay. Yes, Dr. Leoncia Kibani from Tanzania. As I've said, I'm working with Mbeya University of Science and Technology from the Department of Technical Education. And I'm a coordinator of gender, so I'm also coming from the Office of Center for Gender Studies. I'm here to share my experience on my effort to make advocacy on gender responsiveness. Next slide. Yes, my university, MUSTI, is largely comprising of STEM fields. And being the case, there is a culture of superiority, masculinity, and maleness basing on the program pursued. And people have been practicing such a culture for both students and staff. The university itself, it places a strong focus on inclusive and equitable education for all learners. However, the character of inequalities and exclusive have been experienced in university activities. Next slide. Next slide. Yes. But myself, being a gender coordinator, have been working on the issues of gender, at least to bring a balance to male and female. But I've been facing difficulties because of such character of maleness. But after joining the community of gender, community of practices on gender responsiveness, I find it now easier. I started to make strong sensitization on gender responsiveness, equity, and equality. But the purpose of doing so was largely to foster a culture of inclusivity, fairness, and equal opportunities within the university community. And the goal, why I was making strong sensitization, was that I wanted to empower both staff and students to actively promote the culture of gender equity and equality in your university activities. Another slide. Slide. Yes. Now, strategies I've been engaging on in order to make sensitization include the following. I've been conducting gender awareness campaign seminars together with the students and the staff, both of them. But also, I've been selecting gender champions, male and female students, per each program in order to ease the communication on the gender issues. But also, I've been conducting gender awareness workshop to staff and students several times to try to inform them on the issue of equality and equity, but also conducting a get-together welcome to special needs students and staff in order to bring equal rights and make staff to take their responsibility to ensure responsiveness. But we have a WhatsApp group for both staff and students where we are trying to send messages to encourage the gender issues and to bring awareness to both staff and students. I use it to make announcements in the university occasions, such as meetings and party and the other several activities, by using these gender champions and some staff who are in gender studies. Another slide. The importance of gender responsiveness, equity, and equality, which I have observed at my university, is that in order to make everyone to feel the need for gender responsiveness, equity, and equality, these 3 terms, we have written them everywhere at the corner of the university, including notes board, in the classroom, in the offices, administration block, and everywhere we put these terms at the corner so that everyone can read and understand the meaning of equity, equality, and responsiveness. And by ensuring that everyone has access to resources and opportunities based on their unique needs. And for equality, that treating all individuals with fairness and respect regardless of gender, and responsiveness, that adapting policies and practices to address specific challenges faced by different genders. So every member at the university have been reading these 3 terms everywhere. Yes, another slide. Another slide, yes. Results and success or achievement so far, which we have obtained after making strong sensitization, is that gender responsive strategies now have started to be implemented at my university. The university has developed the gender policy on mainstreaming and sexual harassment. We have these policies today. Development of guidance and counseling policy, it is on progress, but nearly at the end. And it we are expecting to inaugurate the Gender Club on the 10th of this month, December. We are going to inaugurate the Gender Club, where students will be meeting together with their staff, discussing some issues and try to implement positively in their environment. But now the university, it is making strong construction like slip stairs to enable people or students or staff who have special needs to be able to pass with their wheelchairs, to move everywhere where they want to go. It is different from the previous days where these were not there. Another slide. Here you can see what I've been talking. You can see now pictures showing everything. For example, new construction of roads to facilitate staffs and students with special needs. You can see the construction is going on. You can see our building now, we have steep stairs, construct stairs for people with disability. You can see the environment. But in the previous year, we had no all this. I can say it is this year they have started to construct, and you can see they are still going on today. Okay, another slide. Another achievement, the university in 2 months now has put the elevator. You can see the elevator for special needs students and the staff to be able to move to the taller buildings. But in the previous year, we have no all these. So students and the staffs with special needs, they were unable to move up. So if it is lectures, they were missing lectures. But now they are getting everything equally. Okay. Another slide. Yes. We are due to sensitization on gender and equity and equality. During the International Day for Boy Child, we had a strong party. You can see there staff, male staffs and the students, they had their gathering. We are discussing issues on gender, equity, equality, responsiveness. You can see the boy child was able to express their ideas, and we were able to share on how they need to balance on both sides equally. Okay, another slide. Another slide. Yes. We used to have meetings where we include all members of every category. You can see special needs staffs are included in leadership now. Previously, they were not there, but now we sit them together. We sit with our students and the staffs with special needs in order to increase inclusivity and make sure that everyone gets it right. Okay. Yes, you can move to the other slide. Another slide. Yes. We had a meeting with the staff and the students with special needs, and this was our advertisement or announcement to everyone to be aware that we need to sit together, to enjoy together, to share our ideas together, to discuss our problems together. And this was held at our university. You can see Center for Gender Studies was leading that meeting, showing that gender sensitization of gender to bring awareness now is taking place at my university. Another slide. Yes. As I've said that I use it to conduct workshop with staff and students with special needs. Previously at my university, I have said that there is a culture, there was a culture of superiority, a maleness, because of these programs of STEM, which are learning at my university. These people were somewhere far away. They were not invited in such meetings. But now we sit together, Center for Gender Studies. We are sitting together with all categories of students and staff. So gender meeting at my university was conducted on 15th of November this year between staff and students with special needs to empower students with special needs, breaking barriers and building future ideas where everyone seem to have equal rights, sharing resources, sharing discussion. So together we can create an equitable space where every student thrives and disability is not inability. This was our slogan in that special workshop. Okay, another meeting. Slide, sorry. Yes, here at my university, in order to remove the issue of stereotype or the issue of imbalancing, my university, because it has more programs of STEM, there are few females. So female are underrepresented almost under each category, leadership for both staff and students. So in order to uplift the number of students to increase in the enrollment of STEM, the university now has started to provide scholarship to female students especially from disadvantaged group, to enroll in these STEM fields, engineering programs, mechanical programs, architectural programs. So now at least the number of female, at least this year, we have enrolled more females than it has happened at my university. Okay, another program. Yes, current challenges. Despite all these efforts, but still there are some challenges, including gender disparities in leadership roles and the academic participation. We are still fighting, we are still struggling to speak on the issue of leadership, to involve all members in every section. But there are still stereotypes and cultural biases impacting staff and students. That behavior of saying these are the laws for males, these are the laws for engineers, these are the laws for mechanical students. These are the stereotypes which put barriers on gender equality and equity. So we are still fighting for this culture to omit it at my university. But there are still limited awareness of institutional policies on gender equity. We have tried to ensure that all university policies at least now speak on gender issues, but there are some areas where policies are still on maleness, showing inequalities. Limited gender responsiveness among staff members. Still, we have some areas where females are still underrepresented. For example, the issue of research and publications, you find that females are few. The issue of making public lectures, they are few. So negligence and the other types are still existing. Another slide, the last one, I think. Another slide. Discrimination and inequalities to special needs students. Special needs students, they explained their challenges, that they are excluded in group discussion and presentations, and these are for students. And sometimes the voice note notification are used through WhatsApp. So those who have problems of hearing, they are neglected. Instructors are not familiar with sign language. So if in a class, if you find that there are those students who need it to use sign language, they are disadvantaged. A shifting of venue without considering enough time, for example, for those who have disabilities in their movement, maybe they become disadvantaged. Examination time frame do not also consider special needs. The time for examination you find the time is the same for all, those with special needs and those without special needs. This is still a problem. And friendly learning environment, those with special needs, they don't have specific resources to guide them or to help them, to support them in their learning. Lack of specific learning materials. These are still challenges which are at my university, but we are still fighting to make sure that we eliminate them. Another slide. Benefits of gender responsive university for students. The benefits include improved academic performance and participation in diverse fields, including STEM, especially for girls, because previously they were neglected and some programs were neglected or seemed to be inferior, but currently now they participate. For staff, okay. Yeah, I can say now at my university, we are trying to balance at least gender responsiveness, gender equity, and equality now is perceived by everyone positively and everywhere. Lastly, I can say thank you for listening. Thank you. I'm happy with community of gender and the practice. We have our plans and key areas of focus at my university. This will include capacity building. We are still aiming to have workshop and more empowering of leaders on gender issues, the policy review and implementation on curriculum, and awareness campaign. So we are still having plan to make sure that we sensitize more and more on gender responsiveness. Yes, lastly, call for action. For staff, students, and university leadership, we are telling them, staff to survive at the university by promoting gender equity and stand as role models all the time in the classroom and outside the classroom. But for students, we are telling them to engage in discussion and initiative to support inclusivity and make sure that every member have equal rights and participate in every category. But for university leadership, we are telling them that they have to commit resources and to create a gender responsive environment to support financially, materially, and for everything to make sure that the university community will be gender responsive for everyone. Lastly, every Muslim community member should promote equality and equity. This picture is at every door of our classrooms so that everyone should participate to make sure that you support your neighbor. Don't become a barrier to your neighbor. Make sure you promote anyone to get his or her rights. This is our slogan. Finally, yes, conclusion. We are saying that by embracing gender responsiveness, equity, and equality, Mbeya University can unlock its full potential and set a benchmark for inclusivity in education and beyond. Together, let's build a fair, more equitable community. This is our slogan at Mbeya University of Science and Technology. Thanks very much.
And thank you so much, Dr. Kibani. Wow, I'm still processing everything that you've shared. There is so much here. I've been taking screenshots of you presenting and speaking. And I think that we're so lucky to have you in this space to share not only the actions that you're undertaking, but also your passion and your drive to work for a better university, and also a better society. So I want to give you a round of applause. Thank you for your great work. Thank you for your ongoing efforts. And we know that you are going to continue to share and work in this capacity. So impressive. Wow. Thank you so much.
Thank you too.
Thank you. I see Valentino's also clapping. Others, feel free.
Thank you.
Let's hear from another member of the group. Okay, we have other presentations today to get through. Now we have Sekumba Peter is going to share what he's been up to. There's a link to his document. Feel free, Peter, to go right ahead and begin sharing. You have about 8 minutes to share. We're got to be a little bit short, but feel free to go into the most important details.
Can I?
Yes, over to you, please. Yes, Peter. Peter, feel free to share. Hello, Sekumba Peter. Maybe I've lost him. Okay, it looks like we might have just lost Sekumba Peter from Uganda. He was going to share what he's doing, but let's call on somebody else. We have 2 other people to share their updates. Maybe we can go to Petros next, and then when Peter comes back, he can go next after that. Petros, are you ready to share your updates?
Yes, Marianne. Can I go for it?
Yes, go right ahead.
Thank you so much. My plan was on gender responsive advocacy, focusing on a strategy to bring female leaders. Yes. All I planned was to have a
I'm on.
Hello?
Yeah.
Can you hear me, Marianne? Can
I'm on and Marianne?
Yes, Peter, is that you? Peter, we lost you for a moment.
Yes.
Could you go
Yes,
after Petros?
my network
yes.
at home, like I told you, I'm moving and I'm getting into a rural area. It may get lost completely.
Okay, Peter, I know you had some thing to do. Peter, do you have time to present after present right now?
Okay, let her present. I'll be on, and I just pray that I'll be with her. It's okay. Yeah. Let her go on.
Okay, so Petros, please, Peter, you can go afterwards. I know you have something else happening at the same time. Petros, please, go ahead.
Thank you so much. All we did in the ministry in Ethiopia is working for the buy-in. We do have strategies and plans to bring more female leaders to school leadership positions with many challenges, of course, because in the ministry, we want a gender-responsive education system where there are female leaders and teachers are going to be empowered and supported. This need to be in place, but the challenge is, despite all the efforts that we made, gender disparity is there in leadership positions, and especially teachers in high school. So we do have problems in this regard with many efforts that we had in place. So as a solution, we planned a comprehensive strategy to challenge these challenges, and then of this, all we did is to create awareness for system actors. At the beginning, what we did is discussing about the seriousness of the issue with the ministry leaders. And then after we have got a buy-in, we started to create awareness at system level. Of this, the first is the special capacity building program that we try to involve all female school leaders and teachers in high school. With this, we believe that we will enhance their skills, the skill of the female leaders, and improve the quality of teaching learning, focusing on female teachers in science and language teachers. This is the intervention area that we did in scale for capacity building. So the things that we get from the leaders that they allow us to involve all the science teachers, language teachers, particularly English language, to take part in the skill training that we did, which is nearly 60,000 in a summer. So the strategy is bringing more female leaders, more teachers to the training areas, large-scale capacity building programs for the females. So by involving all teachers, all school leaders, we believe we will motivate them. So we did this by discussing with the leaders, and after getting their will, we invited them. So because of this, we managed to involve more than 6,000 teachers and 483 leaders where they are capacitated. Next page. But the problem still is 22.5% of the leaders who are given the chance can't manage coming. This is one of the challenges, of course. The other program that we managed to help female leaders training was the GPE step plan, where we were planning to equip leaders with necessary skill knowledge, focusing on female leaders, believing that motivating, giving training for female teachers as a strategy will support effective teaching and learning. And then in skill training, a support system for leaders, which is a plan in collaboration with STEP project, GPE, through UNICEF in collaboration with the Ministry of Education. Biggest plan that we can enforce in the ministry to be one of the bigger priorities to be implemented. So the module development is already in place, and we are required to translate into local language for convenience. So these all things are done, and we are managing it well. The other interventions that we are trying to manage is training for aspiring female teachers. Those who want to be leaders, but not motivated because of certain factors. Again, we had a GPE STEP project support. So by training these aspirants, we believe we can motivate female teachers to pursue leadership positions. The strategy is training and then incentives. We are planning to give 2,000 tablets as incentives. The procurement is going to be managed by UNICEF. Whatever the case, through training and incentives, we believe we can motivate them to compete for school leadership positions. The fourth component was gender-responsive program that we're doing it with UNICEF, Gender Unit, again in collaboration.
Hello? I
Hello,
cannot.
Petros?
Yeah, I cannot hear Petros anymore. I think
we just lost.
Yeah.
Okay. Just give him 10 seconds to rejoin. Sometimes that happens where people reconnect after a moment. Let's just give a few seconds before we try to find different solutions. Yeah, I think let's proceed because the time is running very fast. So we heard a bit about, yes, we had lost Petros, so that was the issue. Petros from Ethiopia was sharing his updates on the screen. There's been some work on female leadership and increasing the shares of female teachers and school leaders. But I think we've lost him, and he's not coming back or responding on WhatsApp. So we're going to have to move on. And if he comes back, then he can continue. But sorry, I'm just getting a message. Okay. Yes. So let's go to Sekumba Peter. Peter, would you be able to share your updates with the group about what you've been working on?
Thank you very much, Mary Ann. My name is Sekumba Peter from Uganda. I work in Uganda, and I'm the National Programs Coordinator. As Church of Uganda, we have different directorates which run the social cohesion in the communities, ranging from household and community transformation, which focuses on livelihood. Then we have the education directorate, which looks at the education system, the programs in the education, the WASH, the gender responsiveness, the inclusion, and enforcement of other policies within the education system. In Uganda, as the FBOs, I'm talking about the Catholics, the Muslims, and the Anglicans, we constitute a 75 80% of ownership of the education institution across the whole country. We also have the missions, that one directly is on the religious affairs that constitutes the Church of Uganda. However, as Church of Uganda, in the two areas that I looked at was the FGM and also the menstruation hygiene management. In the past, we've been working in the areas of which are very affected with FGM, in the areas of the districts of Kapchora, Buko, and Kwen, with the silent programs. And when I say the silent programs, includes the home visitations to the affected families, providing shelter for some few people, but that is at the pastoral individual way, not as an organizational setting. So different pastors, different lay leaders have been taking on some of these victims within their custody until as they negotiate with their parents to see that these people are accepted back. However, we wanted to take it on another scale so that we make awareness They know, but we also want to create more awareness on the health implications, the societal implications of FGM, and we wanted to start with the youth because the youth are the main affected of more affected with this. And we had a sensitization meeting where we had 200 included 138 female and 68 male. This this but using our local structures with the child. Is a key cap. Now it is going on. But one of the key reasons crash. Normally, because they go, what they've done is they smuggle the girls to Kenya, and after they are circumcised, they bring them back. So after talking with the authorities, were able to rescue 6 girls who were being smuggled to Kenya for cutting. Then there's also we also had the reuniting of some of the youths who had run away from their homes because they had started seeing negotiations for them to be smuggled away from their homes. So we had some being reunited back to their families. Sorry for that. We had some of them being reunited with their families that had run away. We also had reconciliations, which are also ongoing with different families affected. I'm talking about relationship between the children, the youths, and the parents. Because of this and the different attitudes that the parents have vis-a-vis what the children have, the family is broken up. So we are also doing those reunifications for those who have come to us, those who have come to our leaders and the priests so another point, we are also doing revision of families, and because we realize one of them up when we are doing desensitization was the intimate spousal violence, where their attitude, the father is saying my child should go, and the mother is saying no, or the mother is saying no, and the father is saying no, my child should be cut. So the violence between them spark, and then we are reconciling with them. Lastly, on some of the key results, it's the reconciliation of families with the it kickstarted and ignited the FGM discussions broadly in church. Sometimes people thought that these were communal issues, cultural issues that were discussed at their level. But now, even in church, we are bringing it as a topic of contention, and then they are discussing it on freely. The next engagement was on the FGM, and this we had to take on 2 schools in one of our districts in the central region of Uganda, in Mityana. Mityana is one of the districts in the central region, and here we happen to have interfaced with 342 children, adolescents, and 244 were female and 98 were male. And in here, we took them through what we taught them what menstruation means, what we also mean by menstruation hygiene, and how they can manage themselves when they are in such a period. Now, someone may be asking him or herself why we included the boys. we found that the boys are the support agents for the girls. They hold their hands. And in most of the cases where some boys were reported, stigmatizing these girls, especially when they're in such a period. So we had to bring the boys on board. And this, in the long run, as a result, uh, we had support of respect. These boys respected due respect for these girls, and you find that in our clinics that we had, where we taught them how to make reusable sanitary towels uh, at their at their schools, we found that the boys made the best towels and the best towels than the girls. So those are some of the reasons why we included the boys. And as some of the key results, boys realize how they can respect the girls and support them while they are in there. We also had teachers, a one-on-one with teachers, because we found that some teachers they stigmatize these children as they are teaching, and they don't even create a conducive environment for them. So we found that at least there was some positive change with them. With the school administration, we realized that some of the most of the schools, if not all, they do not have changing places where these girls can go and change their sanitary towels. They don't have such washrooms. So we urge them to at least create, even though it may be temporary, but when this girl can go and feel free, can change freely. Because we found out that was one of the reasons why there is a very, very high school dropout, especially for the girls, and also the missing of classes of girls when they're in such periods. These are some of the challenges, and these challenges are mixed for all of the interventions. One, we had one of the challenge is the attitudes in the communities. Our societies, they have different attitudes between for FGM in the society, and that is the same thing with the menstruation hygiene management. So this, as we are trying to creating the awareness, they also sabotage the efforts. The poor cultural practices. I told you about the FGM. Our cultures, they believe that this is the way to go, and if menstruation hygiene management in our country, it is a separate thing that it's only the ladies to know about it. So that's why you find even some of the parents are not contributing. They are not buying for their children sanitary towels. Then we have poor prioritization of budgets, ranging from the national in our country. I'm sorry to bring this in our country. You may find in our parliament a session, and on the other they are discussing about the scarcity of condoms in the country. However, bringing an issue of sanitary towels to provide for the girls is something that is unheard of. Something that is unheard of. So you find that the girls are left out. The poor implementation of government policies is another example of the challenges that we are facing. FGM has its policies that guides them, that limits it. However, there are no implementers. The implementers may take someone who has stolen a chicken, and then they leave someone who has the surgeons who carry out the FGM. So we have poor implementation of the laws in our country. Friends, that's what I was able to capture. I'm sorry I would have shared bigger slides, but that's what I was able to capture. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Please. you for what you're. My camera off because my connection is getting weaker here. Peter, I just want to appreciate what you remember a long time back when we were discussing your action plan and you were getting feedback from the group about how about this and the sensitive nature of some of the work. I think that you've really shown up well and you've really implemented something initiatives with those sensitization necessary. I
So sorry, Marianne.
want to like
This is Petros.
Yes, I know we have a chance for you to go next now. Connected. Okay. So could we quickly hear from Petros? Please finish up where you were. So excuse me, Sekla, please wait a moment. We'll hear from Petros since he was having a connection problem. Please post your questions in the chat so that we have a discussion and not just presentation. Over to you, Petros.
Can I start it again? I thought that I presented it, but unfortunately, I'm disconnected. Yes?
Yes. You were even halfway through. Yeah, just.
Oh, yeah, let me be very brief. All we did is a buy-in to help the leaders understand the very essence of gender and its contribution to the education system, education quality, where in turn it contributes to the development of the country, socio-economic and political development of the country through education. So we help them to understand gender from this point of view, conceptualizing its big picture. That's why they allow us to engage all leaders of secondary schools and science and language teachers in a special capacity building that we had in last summer, where more than 6,000 teachers and nearly 500 principals were participated. Can you hear me, Maria?
Yes, Petros,
Hello.
I can hear you.
Thanks so much. The other two programs were in scale female leaders training through GPE and STEP support facilitated by UNICEF in collaboration with the Ministry of Education, where we are planning to train all the leaders in enhancing their skill and knowledge in leadership so that this is in place, this is planned with budget, so we can move it. And because of the political will that we have got this plan in place. And then in addition to this, the same project is going to help us in training aspiring female teachers who are the would-be female leaders of our schools. So GP STEP is also supporting us, where we are going to train them and we are going to incentivize them with tablets, which is nearly 2,000 tablets will be given for aspirants. The procurement and other issues are going to be managed by UNICEF. And then finally, the gender-responsive pedagogy program was there, that we are working with gender units through collaboration. And by this, we are planning to collaborate and bring more school teachers, including male, female teachers, to understand the essence of gender, conceptualizing gender, education, and development to show them the nexus. So by understanding, working on gender, we believe that we will enhance quality of education and through this development kind of approach. So we are planning this. The challenge still is we give opportunities for all female science teachers and English language teachers. Many of them can't manage to come to the capacity building programs. And then as an example, 22.7% of female leaders are reported to be absent and not coming to the training centers. So there is a problem with the female leaders themselves and female teachers as well. And then some female teachers came to the training center with their kids, small kids, newly born kids. Universities have no daycare facilities. So we lack readiness in terms of helping these mothers attend their training while having their kids with them. So there was a big challenge. And then training programs are costly, they need budget, they need time, but with many numbers of trainees, especially females, don't show commitment to become leaders due to certain factors like political, social, and their own motivation and commitment as well. So of 1,000 special trainings that we give for female teachers to be leaders, insignificant number of them has become school leaders. So we are not achieving the goals as we planned because of other factors, so it's costly. And then if this is the case, if we fail to achieve our goals, there is a big problem for us to convince our leaders so that similar situations are going to be happening in terms of awareness creation and capacity building. This is all that I want to add. Thank you so much, Maria. If I am heard now.
Yes, Petros, I heard you. Thank you so much. Petros, and I also recall that you wanted to work on this topic of increasing female leadership and teacher representation for some time now. So it's really great to see the numbers in red that you're showing and the ongoing challenges of the percent of absenteeism in female leaders. You can see that this is a work in progress, but it's great to see the ministry's commitment to this issue. Thank you so much for sharing. And I hope that others in the group will ask questions and use the chat box to start posting questions. Now, I know that the time is racing by. We have one more presentation by Sekwekele from Lesotho about his work and achievements in this community of practice space. Please go ahead, Sekwekele, and thank you for being patient.
Thank you, Mariam. My name is Kelekele Hekwajwal. Like Mariam has introduced me, I'm from Lesotho. I work at the National Curriculum Development Center. In short, is called NCDC. Next slide, please. I have a very short presentation here. The overview of the presentation is as follows: is with these 7 bullet points here. I will just start with the introduction, then go to the context and rationale. Then I will go straight into the training workshop and the takeaways from the training workshop, the challenges that I have pinpointed, and then the recommendations based on the awareness training program. Then I will end my presentation. Thank you very much. Next slide, please. Let me appreciate this opportunity which I've been given by UNESCO KICS COP, as well as acknowledge your participation and to take your time and to listen to what we have to table in these presentations. This COP actually highlights the collaboration effort that is necessary in promoting the gender equality in education. The purpose of is to share the insights which I have through the gender advocacy effort that I did undertook at NCDC and the key outcomes thereof of the workshop. And I will just go through the journey, going through the slides here. Let me just highlight a few points about the context and the rationale for this awareness. It appears there is a need for gender-responsive education, even in our context in Lesotho. There are gender disparities when you look at them in terms of enrollments in the education system and the participation and the achievements of the learners from what our education system is offering. So the role of NCDC is to design and develop curriculum materials that are being used in our education system. So when we are developing and designing this, we have to align with global trends and conventions, particularly SDG 4 and Target 4.5, gender equality in education. Next slide, please. Therefore, the objective of the training workshop was to allow participating curriculum developers, or let me just start by saying the participant, as the task was requiring us to work within our work mandate, day-to-day mandate. So as I'm developing curriculum, so I was targeting the curriculum developers to share with them the knowledge that I gained through the training workshop, or that Marian highlighted through module 1 and module 2. So I was sharing those gender concepts, specifically gender equity, gender equality, gender bias, and so on. Next slide, please. The stakeholders, as I have already indicated, they are subject specialists. We also have other support staff like the editor and the graphic designer and the course designer. And then we have a management as well. Next slide, please. So there was a target was 27 people. A specific result that through this workshop, we held a 2-day awareness training workshop on gender responsible education for the professional staff that we have seen in the previous slide. So for the first day, the attendance was very low. Out of the expected 27, maybe we had about 10 or less people. So on the second day, there was a slight improvement. So we went up to 16, 17, somewhere there, where we did not actually get the 27 that we were targeting. Next slide, please. So the specific objectives, the specific results continue on this with these 2 points. Then after the workshop, I had a discussion looking this workshop with the director. The observation that we had or agreed upon, based on what I put forward to her, because she couldn't come due to other commitments, is that the workshop did not go according to plan, because we did not reach all the specific subject specialists, because at our unit, all these subject specialists, each and everyone is looking at a different subject. So we have people who are looking at individual subjects, not all subjects. So we needed all of them for the specific purpose that each will take this knowledge and skills and apply it into his or her own area of expertise. So the other specific result was to look at what we can do. We agreed that there is a need and a possibility to organize similar workshop in the future, but the dates were not agreed as yet from that moment. Next slide, please. So my takeaways from the training workshop was that based on the activities that I analyzed through the report that I provided and submitted to the KICS, which I believe it can be available if people are interested in the analysis. The analysis is that since this was the first attendance, most of the participants did not have accurate basic gender concepts. they did have an information about some of these concepts, but they were not accurate based on what we did in the activities. Based on the application of those concepts in the activities, whether they are able to apply them correctly or appropriately based on the activities that were in the awareness training workshop. The other takeaway that I took from the training is that my action plan was too ambitious. I did a plan for too much information for the two-day training workshop. On my assessment, I believe the two-day workshop content was for 8-day training workshop based on what I did within those 2 days. And the progress that I realized the participants were at. So number 3, which is also a takeaway, is that there is a need for a continuous professional development on this gender equality education issues. That should have not been the first and the last. That should continue. But number 4 is a careful planning is required in this training workshop for successful plan execution. This includes that the fact that there is time constraint along these lines, because you can go into the next slide as I'm talking, because gender is not a part of the planned activities of the NCDC. So we are just taking it in as an add-on item. But based on the schedule or the program of training, we did include other things other than this, because our training program was for 5 days. So in other days, we even included training on SDGs, because gender is one of the SDGs as SDG number 5. So it should be part of the training, and education is SDG number 4. So they are interconnected, these things. So they should be a part of a day-to-day activities or agenda of the curriculum based on where they appear in the SDGs. So other things that we included in the agenda was to look at how schools are operating, what we called a routine school work. How schools run on a routine basis. So there are many modalities of how schools run, but I will not go there because it was not part of this. It was just part of the whole program, so that gender cannot be treated as an isolated concept. It has to be treated with other concepts that are involved in the running of the schools or education system for that matter. Can you go to the next slide, please? So the recommendation that I put forward based on the training is to put a continuous professional development on gender equality education as part of NCDC activities, so that it can be blended into the training workshops and sessions to reinforce and build on the knowledge that we gained from this first training workshop. Number 2 is to follow up with more training and support, even the resources, meaning that these people who are present, they should be supplied with more resources and more support. If there are people who got a accurate meaning of the terms that concept that we used, and they initiate to try to apply them in the curriculum design and development, there should be ongoing support for them to use that knowledge. And next slide, please. The next recommendation I put forward is to encourage collaboration and networking among the NCDC professionals, the target that was involved in the training, to share the knowledge that they gained from the workshop, the first training workshop, so that they can incorporate it into their curriculum design and development. Number 4, which may be the last, is to establish mechanism for monitoring and evaluation, so that based on this first workshop, we can actually start trying to evaluate how much of this knowledge and skills people are trying to include in their day-to-day work of design and development processes. Next slide, please. This is the last slide, where I thank you all for being a part of this presentation. In Sesotho, thank you all, is Kialeboa. There I will attend to question and answer when if you have them. Okay. I believe, Marian, I'm done. I will attend to the questions and answers where they are.
Thank you.
If there are people who have them.
Thank you so much, Seklikale, and I want to appreciate you. This was not easy, what you did. I remember us going back in like earlier this year. We were going through the presentation, the resources, the workshop plan for you to do this, and I remember that you had lots of ideas, lots of content, and you were reducing it, getting down to a final version. And then finally you did it, and still I can sense the reality in your voice. You have some work that you still want to do in this area, some realizations that maybe you didn't get everything done, but I think what I'm also noting in your voice is that you realize this is a work in progress, and it's not finished or over with that workshop, and that there's lots of scope still to do and room to keep going. And I think that something that you have done is you've at least been able to successfully bring up the awareness of the issue, of the need for better harmonization between the departments and mainstreaming of gender into the Curriculum Development Center. So I think you need to give yourself a lot of credit for what you have been able to do and your achievements, even if the workshop didn't fulfill all of your goals. And I want to just give you a round of applause and encourage everybody else to, because this is really tremendous when we see these works in progress that indicate the work is not finished, it's never finished, and it's ongoing, but that we need to give ourselves credit for what we've accomplished along the way and see the mobilization that we have inspired. You know, I think that part of the work that we do is just simply to be advocates and to be champions for the idea of gender equity and equality, and to become an open line of communication for people that are interested in connecting for it with you, with us. And you can mobilize your colleagues to care and to think about it more, maybe when it hasn't been that open or that much clear about why we care about it or why it's important. And another thing that I want to stress is that we've heard in Lesotho many times, and other countries too, that we can't take gender equality and equity as just some umbrella topic that it's for girls' education only. It's boys in some contexts that are the ones who need to be better catered to. Every context is different. Every school even is different. So something that you have done, Seklikale, and that others have done here is that you are an open line of communication, you're advocates, and you're also contextualizing the topic of gender equality and equity for your particular context in areas. You're not just blanketing, applying things, but having discussions with people about what's the problem, what needs to be done. That's going to look different everywhere. So this community of practice is for you, it's for all of you, it's for us. And we can make this space whatever we desire. And that's going to lead us to the end of our meeting. We might have just a few minutes to for questions and answers from people. Then we're going to end with that idea of our next steps and our resources in gender that we can share with you. But let's see if there are any questions arising. So I'm seeing a question from, there was a question from Fatima Tofik. What is one best practice of ensuring gender inclusive pedagogy in primary schools? Now, we've had 4 presenters today. We've also had others here who haven't presented but might have something to share about this. Can anybody answer Fatima's question? What is one best practice of ensuring gender inclusive pedagogy in primary schools? What is one best practice of ensuring gender inclusive pedagogy in primary schools? Would anyone like to weigh in on this topic? It's quite broad, but maybe it's open-ended for you to give a specific response. One best practice of ensuring gender inclusive pedagogy at the primary level. Anyone? I do see a hand up from Secretary. Go ahead, please.
Yeah.
Hello, Mariam.
Thank you, Mariam. One of the best practices is to use a language that is, because language can promote inequities if it is used in a way that it excludes others. So using the language that includes learners so that they can learn, or the teacher imitates how to talk in an inclusive way. Thank you very much. Just to take one slice of the.
Right. And I'm thinking about modeling what we expect. So a lot of times the language that we use can shape students' entire ideas and impressions about their learning capabilities, the learning capabilities of the other gender, and their possible futures, their careers that they take or don't take. So the language that we use is so important, the language of inclusion. Do we have any women who want to share? We've had a lot of wonderful contributions from our male friends today, and that's fine if we continue down that route for another few minutes. But are there any ladies who would like to share or comment on these issues? I see so many of you here. Matsaliso, I see Sarah Bagozi, Blandina, Janet, Lucy, Fatima, you asked a question in the chat box. You feel free to raise your hand as well. Arsene, we have so many stellar women here in the group. Does anybody want to come in? Otherwise, we'll go to another male member. I see a hand up as well. Any ladies? Asteri, you've unmuted.
Yes,
Would you like to
Marianne.
comment?
Yes, Marianne. Thank you very much. Do you hear me? Do you hear me, Marianne?
Yes, we hear you.
Yes,
Go
Asteri.
ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for the question asked regarding gender equality in primary. Thank you for the person who contributed about the language use that has to be inclusive in terms of boys and girls. What I can add is that not only the language use, but also the best practice is difficult to find one. I see it as just a mixture of the knowledge we have, the attitude we have towards gender equality. How we teachers, parents, do we behave in terms of attributing activities to learners? Do we have that gender equality attitude? The way we treat our children has to be inclusive. The way you assign tasks has to be inclusive. So not only the language itself, but also that attitude attitude has to be gender equality. This is what I can add. And that awareness of always searching, reading, listening to best practices that can help us to treat our children equally in terms of gender. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Asteri. Truly, it starts with us and the language that we use, the attitudes that we have. Sarah Bokosi, would you please come in? And then we'll go to Mwangi Joseph. Sarah, briefly.
Okay. Thank you so much, Marianne and Tim. For me, I'll try to be very quick. In addition to what the other members have said, language and then culture and all that, for me, the other third one that I can add is that at primary level, everything we do, we must have girls and boys participating equally. For instance, in class, when they are sitting, you shouldn't have girls seated on one side and boys seated on the other side, but we should have a mixture of boys and girls together. Even in outside activities, let us see boys and girls participating equally, even when they are answering questions. Because in classes, we have had these issues, like especially in mathematics, science, where we tend to say science, math is for the tough ones and the tough ones are boys. But here now, that takes me to language. That when we are using language, let us show the children that they are all the same. They can participate at the same level. And if they do that together, then all of them can achieve better. So participation should be 100% everyone, not segregating. Then also the other one you can also bring in is the building their values, because our cultures tend to make girls feel inferior. So through building values, we should be telling children how each and everyone is very important in society, how each and everyone can contribute to national development and in so many ways, so that when they are growing up, they know the girls are the same as the boys. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you, Sarah. Mwangi Joseph?
Well, mine is to thank everyone, especially for the reach. Yes, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, mine is to thank the tutors for their good work, especially in matters to uplift the education sector. What has been shared is quite recommendable, and it's my sincere hope that we will continue to do whatever we can so that we are able to uplift the level of the education system across the different sectors. But maybe one question which I wish to pose to the people who are presenting today is maybe how they can be communicated to the learners so that learners can be able to understand that we are all gifted differently, and not everyone can become number one, so that nobody feels that they are left behind. And maybe the other question which I wish to ask the tutors is how maybe we can have a way of ensuring that the education system is able to advance across different decisions of higher learning. Thank you. Those are my sentiments for today.
Thank you, Mwangi. Thank you so much for your questions and your comments. I think we're running a little bit short on time, but let's take a few more comments and questions. And feel free, everybody, to come in. This is a discussion. So you just had a question about from Mwangi to the presenters. please feel free to come in to comment. Let's go to Nelly and then to Anthony. And others maybe who haven't spoken yet, could you please also contribute to the discussion? It'd be good to hear from more people. Nelly, and then Anthony, and then Valentino. Nelly, are you able to come in?
Hello?
Yes, and please keep your comments short, please. We have just a few minutes.
Pardon?
Feel free to
Hello,
make a
Mary.
short comment. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, a short comment. Yeah, I'm saying maybe we need to also consider having learners, both boys and girls, and provide opportunities for them to question the gender stereotypes in terms of even taking action, and also providing those kind of opportunities for their voices to be heard, so that they are also having an opportunity to critically reflect and also examine the kind of gender stereotypes and inequalities that are happening in the society. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. I see another hand from Valentino. There was someone else, but I don't see a hand up now. Valentino, please feel free to come in.
Hello.
Yes,
Hello.
Anthony. Yes, yes, quickly,
Yeah,
Anthony, and then Valentino.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I just wanted to emphasize one strategy, which to me would be community, parent, school engagement as a strategy. This is very, very important because from research, we understand that community and parent involvement has been a great factor. For example, in Uganda, it has been proved that 25% of enrollment for girl child was because of involvement of parents. In Ethiopia, we understand that 90% increase in school retention rates for girls was because of involvement with the parents. We understand that, for example, in Kenya, 15 to 20%, particularly in rural areas, of girl child that were enrolled was because of being involved on school management committees. So in conclusion, I would like to emphasize that strategy for gender responsiveness must touch on the community and parents because they are the biggest platform and influencers of the community. Thank you very much.
Yes, very true, very true. Valentino?
Thank you very much, Mariam. I think we should appreciate the presentations. They were all high quality presentations. I just wanted to comment or to ask a question to Mbeya University of Science and Technology. I was interested in the efforts to end gender disparities, in leadership roles and academic participation. I was interested in this one because I've sat on so many panels for top positions in universities. Unfortunately, it appears the senior and top female candidates you would expect to contest for high positions, they never avail themselves for such positions. What measures does Mbeya University take to make sure that people avail themselves for such positions? Actually, even in politics, you rarely can see women of influence vying for positions. They just leave them. What measures does the university take to make sure that there is that edge to participate in such things? Another thing to Mbeya University as well, there was a mention of exam time for special needs students. In Malawi, the policy, I think, provides for 20% extra time for students who are SNE. In Tanzania, don't you think it would be right and proper to have that reflected in the policies, that whatever exam time is accorded to students, those with special needs should be granted that extra time considering the challenges they do encounter. Lastly, I was interested in the gender responsiveness, the general approach to it. Of late, we've heard of emphasizing on support to girls, resulting in boys being disadvantaged. In fact, I think in Malawi, we have a project that is just starting, supported by KICS, lifting barriers, educated boys for equality, where they are saying it appears we have created a gap. What is it that you are doing in the university to make sure, as we are being affirmative to the girls, we don't disadvantage the boys? Thank you very much. I had those 3 questions. Thank you.
Valentino, thank you so much for commenting. We might have to ask you to summarize them in the chat box or in the WhatsApp group because they're so good, but I don't think we're going to get time to address them right now. But we'll have another community of practice meeting, and I think this could lead us into a good discussion or a discussion on WhatsApp. So if you wouldn't mind putting them into the chat box here or in the WhatsApp group, I think they're worthy of taking up and picking up maybe at the next COP session. And I do see that we have a question from Leoncia in the chat box, although I'm a little bit unsure what your question is referring to. This is Dr. Kabani, who presented from MUST in Tanzania, asked, in practice, which should start gender responsiveness, equality and equity, when implementing them? Would you like to unmute and just clarify your question so I can take note of it, so we could begin the next session with these questions? Would you like to clarify? I'm not quite sure I understand your question. Leoncia Kabani?
Yes, Marian. Yeah.
Yes, could you please clarify your question in the chat box? I don't think I understand it.
Okay.
Apologies.
Let me start with question 1, which is on leadership and the academic participation of female. The question was on what measures the university take to ensure female participation and leadership, especially on the
Hello, Dr. Kabani, I've lost you. Hello, I don't hear her anymore. I don't think anyone else is hearing her.
No, I cannot hear her.
Yeah. Okay, colleagues, I think I'm going to take an executive decision. We've already gone 15 minutes over. A couple here and there challenges with in today, but it's really okay because these are not meant to be like webinars. These are community forums for us to engage. So it's okay, maybe, you know, things didn't begin on time, to be respectful of your time now and not keep it going for any longer. So I think we should start ending the meeting. I could just ask you, Camelia, just show a link for our website where they can find resources on countries, then we'll start wrapping up.
Okay, thank you, Maria. I'm just gonna quickly show my screen. So for the KICS repository, we do have quite a few resources from the past. Here's the KICS resources in general. If you go down, there is a section about country resources. I'm gonna go into that in a little bit. And also, there is a part about thematic resources where you can find documents or meeting reports that's related to gender. For example, there's a gender-based violence, for example. And other than that, we also have the links to the technical partners. For example, Huawei, as we already mentioned, they developed a toolkit, or VVOB. They have quite a few resources related to gender, so feel free to explore their resources on their pages by clicking. Other than that, in the country briefs, for example, if we go to Kenya, you can see ICBA has developed country briefs, and we're going to update them very soon. Hopefully by the beginning of next year, we'll have the updated information, but this is also pretty recent from 2024. As if you scroll down, you can see there is a section about gender, achieving gender equality and in and through education. There you can find quite a lot of data or evidence related to gender inequality of the respective country, and you can explore what has been going on in terms of gender inequality. Other than those, I'm happy to say that ICBA will have knowledge briefs related to gender inequality and human capital wealth. The knowledge briefs is by each country, and we'll have them available by the end of this year for sure. Once that's out, I'm happy to share the knowledge briefs so you can see the data about it. Thank you. That's all from me, Marianne.
Thank you so much, Camelia. And the website link that she's sharing, we'll post it into the chat box so you can see the repository. It's meant to be a growing library of. I'll also reshare the link to the resource pack for this particular course. And I'm hoping that if you have questions that were unanswered today, you'll post them in the chat so we can get to them. Now, colleagues, I'd like to just take a moment. Question to all of you about direction of the next meeting. People here in this room who still have to share their results or updates in gender responsive work if anybody here has not had a chance to share, but that wants to share, raise your hand. If you have any action to share in a gender responsive work you've done in 2024, we want to make sure we capture them. Anybody here, did you get a chance to present? And if not, raise your hand. Okay, have we had everybody? Yes, Nelly.
Can you repeat your question? I didn't it quite well.
Oh, yes, sorry, maybe the connection is not good for both of us. I'm asking, we're reaching the end of the year. I'm wondering if anybody else here in this room would like to share a gender responsive action that they've done in 2024 before the end of the year, because we're giving out certificates for an action that they planned with us earlier this year. Has anyone here not had a chance to present a result from your actions? If you'd like to, please raise your hand. We can schedule one more short meeting before the end of 2024 for you to share your results with the group. Okay, then maybe that's it. Maybe we should take a pause then, because it is the end of the year, and yes, Nelly, you have your hand up. Did you want to share an update at a future meeting?
Yes, I can share what we have already been able to do and what I'm anticipating.
Sorry, Nelly, it's a little hard for me to hear you. Could you repeat that, please? Apologies.
Pardon?
Could you please repeat? I couldn't hear what you said.
Yes, I'm saying I can be able to present what I've been able to do and what I'm envisioning to do, especially from our institute.
Okay, I think you're saying that you would like a chance to present what you've been able to do this year?
Yes, yes.
Okay, that's good. I'm glad to know that. So, colleagues, we need to have one more short meeting for whoever else needs to still present their updates. And I think we also have something from Jacqueline Mukuka, who was unable to join today because of her connection. So I would recommend that we schedule one short, maybe hour and a half long meeting for a few remaining members to share their updates from this year. And then I think we'll take taking stock of the space so we can begin next year with something maybe a little bit different. Maybe we can do some workshops next year on gender transformative education, which is a step beyond gender responsive. So the space really is yours and we want to hear from you. So let's schedule on one more meeting before the end of the year. Should we do it on December 18th, 2 weeks from today? Because I won't be available to do it next week. Does December 18th sound okay to you, Nellie, and to others at the same time? Or perhaps December 19th, the Thursday? December 18th, Wednesday, or December 19th, Thursday? Are those dates possibilities for a final meeting of the Gender Community of Practice? Any feedback? Sorry, Nellie, can you repeat? Okay, 19th. Okay, I'm getting some feedback. Okay, any other comments? 19th December, is that okay for the next Gender Community of Practice meeting? It's the final meeting for the year. Maybe we'll also have some music in the meeting, and by then people will get their certificates. Let's make it a bit of an end of year celebration for the work that we've done and motivation for the work that we're still doing next year. Sort of an end of the year. Okay, December 19th it is. We will see you back here for those that are able to join. I know the holidays are approaching. December 19th from 3 to 5 p.m. the same time, East Africa time. That's the next and final meeting of the Gender COP for the year. Okay. We'll allow Jacqueline Makuka to be the discussion leader since she was unable to do so today, which means I had to do it, and I prefer that the members do. So we'll have Jacqueline be the discussion leader. Everybody, a quick goodbye. Goodbye to each other. For those here, thank you so much for joining. I'm so